to 4 years of probation and community service for the man who killed a doctor during what officials call a road rage incident.
Tonight, we speak with Dr. Jeffrey Honer's widow and children about the emotional sentencing and hear from the man who pulled the trigger. On March 15, 2024, Dr. Jeffrey Honer was with a caravan of nurses in the area of Houghton and Snyder. Authorities say Jason Jamison, another driver on the road, admitted to shooting and killing Jeffrey Honer after the two got into a disagreement. According to the interim complaint, Jamison told a dispatcher he shot someone. Jamison claimed Honer punched him, and he then shot Dr. Honer in the back while claiming self-defense. He was initially arrested on a second-degree murder charge, but was arraigned on a manslaughter charge. He then ultimately pleaded guilty to negligent homicide. And today, a judge decided his sentence. We were in the courtroom as that was read.
Smart, very funny. He was so caring. He would always take time out of his day to help others, and he would do anything for us, and he was amazing. He was always there when you needed him, and he was a good teacher.
That's how the children of Dr. Jeffrey Honer remember him. Today was a difficult one, as the man who shot and killed Honer learned his fate for the crime. Family members of Honer took the stand to tell the courtroom who Honer was and plead with the judge to give Jason Jamison the maximum sentence, 1 to 3.5 years in prison and probation up to 4 years.
The defendant is correct in saying he didn't know my husband. That's exactly why, before choosing to pull out a weapon and selfishly take a life, he should have considered the far-reaching ramifications of his actions.
On Father's Day, I had to go to the gravesite. While Mr. Jamison spent the day with his kids. Mr. Jamison took my father from me, from all of us.
He hasn't learned his lesson, and he's definitely not remorseful. He's just figured out that this is his best option.
And for the first time, we heard from Jason Jamison, who said if he could take back what he did, he would.
Your Honor, there's no amount of words I can say to express how sorry I am. I have a lot of the same values as myself. And sometimes people have bad days, make mistakes, and I made a mistake.
Despite all of the impact statements, the judge sentenced Jamison to probation for 4 years and 200 hours of community service. And after reading the sentence, the judge said this, which some of Honer's family members saw as contradictory to the sentence.
I'm so sick of gun violence. I've seen it for over 50 years. I was a prosecutor, I've been a judge for 28 years, and it's just sickening, the gun violence in our country.
Mr. Jamison did not have to shoot my husband. My husband posed no threat to him. He was unarmed, he was walking away. Mr. Jamison did not need to use the gun, he did. And that's what encourages gun violence.
It's unresolved. It's just complete injustice. And it's a fear for the lesson we've taught, Jeff's kids, is that there is just going to be injustice. And yes, the world is not fair, but we rely on the courts to provide justice, and they have failed us.
Alyssa says she forgives Jamison, and she knows her husband does too. For now, the Honer family continues to try to heal, as Jeff's son has become the man of the house, and his daughters find strength.
It's a tragic situation. Absolutely tragic. It's crazy to think that he was facing 1 to 3 years, and they gave him 4 years probation with 2.5 hours of community service. And then he made that statement at the end talking about he's sick of gun violence, but seems like he went light on the sentencing for someone who just did a crime using a gun. Let's go into this next video and see what else we can find out. This is more about the woman, the wife, talking about her husband and how she feels about it. So let's get into it.
Back here at home in Arizona, a widow is outraged after a judge sentenced her husband's killer to only 4 years probation and 200 hours of community service. The man spared prison time after killing Dr. Jeffrey Honer last year in a road rage shooting. Our next guest is calling out the DA's office, demanding they focus on protecting the public instead of criminals. Dr. Jeffrey Honer's widow Alyssa and brother Kenneth both join me now. Thank you so much for joining us to you both. We're so sorry for your loss, and the details of this situation are just incomprehensible. Alyssa, I'll start with you. What was your reaction to this sentence and your husband's killer getting spared jail time?
Like I said, we were just absolutely, it was unfathomable for us. We were shocked to get this sentence, especially after the judge seemed so sympathetic to our case.
Yeah, he did. He even cried and said, "I'm so sick of gun violence." But your husband's killer received a slap on the wrist. How could this happen?
Yes. There are so many factors at play here, and a lot of it is what is going on with the DA's office. I feel that they are overwhelmed, overworked, and just the whole process and the process of investigation, everything. Ken will talk more about all of that, but
Yeah, Ken, what is your reaction to this sentence and how this could happen?
Right. We were shocked. We felt like the justice system let us down on this. Clearly, we expected a different outcome. And
I mean, I can completely understand why they felt like the justice system let them down. I can't understand it. Why give someone who committed who was supposed to get 1 to 3 years, gave him a slap on the wrist by giving them 4 years probation after a man is gone. But it's at the end of the day, it's our justice system, and he was judged, and we got to live with it. They can, I think, can they appeal? I don't know. Let's keep going.
we didn't get it. And I think part of it, as Lissa said, is that the DA's office it's had a lot of turnover. We lost our initial prosecutor. I've heard that they've lost half the prosecutors in that office, and as a result, they have limited staff and they're willing to make a deal.
Alyssa, in the short time that we have remaining, tell us about your husband, what you would like people to know about him.
my husband was an amazing individual. He knew so many people. He was everyone's best friend. That's how everyone always talks about him. He was always ready to help anyone in need, whether it was his patients or people, from our church congregation or just in the community. He loved to take care of animals, of patients, and he was just always ready to do his best.
Yeah, well, it feels like a loss 2 times over with the loss of your husband and your brother. And then the outcome of this case just feels like such a deep injustice. But Alyssa, Ken, maybe with your advocacy, you can help change the criminal justice system moving forward. Alyssa, Ken Honer, we are so sorry for your loss, and thank you for speaking out to us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a crazy situation all about. It's a crazy situation all about. Let's see. I was just trying to look up, see if we have any quick details, go to see if we can find anything. Let's go over to here. So recently received probation, service instead of prison time in a fatal road rage incident. Case details: convicted individual in October 2025. Jason Scott Jameson was sentenced to 4 years probation and 200 hours of community service. The victim, Jameson, was convicted for killing Dr. Jeffrey Honer, which occurred during a road rage incident in March 2024. Plea agreement. The sentence came after Jameson's plead guilty to negligent homicide. His probation was part of the plea deal with the prosecutor. Public reaction. So the sentence had drawn strong criticism from the public and the victim's family, including his widow, who described the outcome as deep injustice. So legal precedent for probation. So while a sentence of probation for a fatal road rage incident is uncommon, it is possible in certain homicide cases. So it varies by jurisdiction and charges. The possibility of probation depends on specific state laws, the exact charge, and the defendant's criminal history. Negligent homicide versus murder. So a plea to negligent homicide, as in Jameson's case, is a significantly lesser charge than murder, which typically excludes the possibility of probation. Lesser charges, it is more likely for probation to be considered in cases involving lesser forms of homicide, like involuntary or vehicular manslaughter, especially if there is no aggravated factor such as driving under the influence. Factors judges consider when deciding on probation. Judges weigh several factors: the specifics of the case, the defendant's criminal history, the defendant's behavior before and after the incident, and any mitigating circumstances presented by the defense. Now, let me know your thoughts, y'all. Do y'all think that the judge gave him too much of a slap on the wrist for this? Do you think that he should have actually gotten? But it was in the plea deal, so he pleaded guilty to negligent homicide. So that was why it was only, I think it was 1 to 3 years at the most for that charge. He gave him 4 years probation, 200 hours of community service. How do you feel about that? Do you think that it was just too much of a slap on the wrist for this? I think at the end of the day, I think he should have gotten some jail time. I don't know the exact circumstances of the whole case. Were they fighting, something like that? But it sounded like during the sentencing, he was walking away, or during the court when they was trying to sentence him, they described it as him walking away, trying to de-escalate the situation by walking away, and he ended up still shooting him. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, I think he should have gotten at least some jail time, maybe a year, something just to help the family. Just getting him getting to go home on probation seems just a little too light to me, and I think it's just going to send a bad. I don't want criminals to think that the justice system is light on crime. That's the main thing. I don't want criminals to think that the justice system is light on crime, because if they believe that it's light on crime, they're more likely to commit it. That is my thinking, but let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. All right, everybody, remember this is AC Reviews the Word. Remember to like and subscribe.